Hi, I'm Robin,
And I'm Kristen.
and we are back.
Yes, we are. And this weekend, the music video, or MV for Normal, dropped on both Spotify and YouTube. And we are going to talk about it.
We're going to have the talk about normal.
We're going to talk about Normal and is it really normal?
Mm,
So we watched it quite a few times.
yes.
And admittedly, we did watch some videos that talked about what, like, people giving their thoughts on the music video and the theming and all that stuff. We drew some parallel conclusions and we learned some stuff.
Yes.
So we're gonna take you through what we discovered on our own and with the help of some people on YouTube. With the help of YouTube University.
Yeah, it was like looking at the video with different set of eyes,
Mhm.
because you don't always catch everything. I mean, we realized that in watching it several times and it being pointed out in one of the content creators that we totally missed
Some stuff.
something. Yeah, some
Mhm.
things. So,
Which happens.
yeah,
I mean, we
yeah,
can't catch everything. First
exactly.
off, I'm like practically blind, so
Uh,
so I'm definitely not catching everything. I
yeah, but
try my best.
yeah. But it was so let's move on.
Okay. So where do we want to start? Do we want to start straight from the beginning, or do
I would think that would be the best place to start because let's just run through it the way it plays out.
okay? Well, when the music video starts, I mean, the very beginning, you see this woman who throws up a bunch of Polaroids that are pictures of the guys,
Hmm.
and she just lets them fall. And my thought was, and I initially thought this is, stills, like little moments captured that can be spun to create a narrative that's not true, which has happened to them. But one of the creators that we looked at had said something about it being the capturing of happy moments,
Right? Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
memories, which it could also. So it's
It
kind
could
of,
have
an either
up to
or both.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. But the first thing I wrote down was how the word normal, the title of the song, appears on the screen. It comes in backwards, letter by letter,
Right.
to spell out, well, it's comes in as Lamron, but then it spells normal.
Right.
And I'd put, a question mark. Is it the opposite? Is their normal the opposite of everything that we're going to see in this music video?
Mhm.
So everything that's portrayed is what they're trying to show is normal, but is it actually their normal?
Okay.
So
I
that's
like
where,
that. Yeah.
and then when you go into the next scene and you see JK in the bathroom, it starts with the mirror first.
That yes, but you still have the swan.
Oh yes, the swan. Well,
The
we'll get to the
swan.
swan.
But
Um, I
it's in
will.
the beginning.
I know, but I will get to the swan because I had a train of thought. The
Okay.
train of thought
Okay. I'm
train was
sorry.
going.
I'm sorry. I
Um,
said let's just run through it the way it appears, and you
I
was
well,
like,
you know
yeah,
what?
but I'm
Okay,
going to jump to the third thing. I
you know
said.
what? To be fair, I'm not going to run through it the way it appeared. I'm gonna
Okay.
run through it the way my mind kind of took its tour of this music video.
And that's fair. Okay.
So going to back up that theory of it not being what it seems, you start off with a mirror shot of JK before you get to him
Right.
actually as he is, and it kind of plays into this: is this going to be reverse images or a distorted reality?
Okay.
So that was that, and then you go into JK in the shower, and I talked about, or I wrote a note about it being a personal storm, and then I made a comment like, "Why is it so hot? Why is the water so hot?" There was steam coming off of him. It was
Yes.
insane. I was like,
Yeah.
"How could he just stand there?" I know that water was hot. It had to have been uncomfortable, but
You know what? The water was temperature, room temperature, and they added steam.
and that's the thing. It's because you made a note. You're like, "Where's the
Yeah,
steam?"
where's I didn't
And
see it
when
in the
it's
first
on
shot.
him, but
Yeah.
when he's looking in the mirror,
Right.
then you see the
Right.
steam, and
Then you
I
see
think
the
that
steam.
might have been added
Yeah.
later. I
Yeah.
don't think it was actually that hot. Another question: why is Tay beat up? I had a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of questions. Um, the background people. Oh, I made a note about background people, which you had later pointed out. You were like, "Did you notice this person? Did you know this person?" And I had already written this note.
Mm.
The background people aren't acknowledged, almost like it's so normal for other people to be around that they just go unnoticed.
Mm. Yeah.
Because if you look at it, they're for 13 years and
Right.
probably before that, they've always had somebody that's been around them. They've never
Mhm.
truly been by themselves because there's always at least a staff member or security,
Right.
Mr. Lee, cameraman. Even when they're recording themselves, there's still somebody
Buddy there.
recording them recording
Right.
themselves.
Exactly.
So they're never truly alone.
Mhm.
They're never truly left to their own devices, which it's kind of a, you kind of wonder why. Is it because they just, have to make sure they have to monitor them?
Mhm.
Is it
And
a
it could have
monitoring
been
thing,
it
or
could have
is
been that
it,
in the beginning.
but could it still be that way?
It
Could it still be a
it could.
monitoring thing?
It could.
Or is it that they just are observing? They just have to keep record of,
Mhm.
what's going on for whatever purposes.
Mhm.
And so then I had that again, why is Tay so beat up? The cuts from the party scenes to the scenes of solitude are visual representations of how quickly you can go from being surrounded to feeling completely alone when you're famous. To me, that's what it was.
Okay.
Do you have a different
I
perspective?
I thought that it's from being surrounded to desiring to be alone.
And that could also a vision,
That's
yeah, the desire to be alone. Even
yeah,
when you are surrounded by people, your mind is
it's
wanting to be there.
wanting to be, away from the people or just be by yourself.
Okay,
That's the way I took that.
the next thing I wrote down was Yoongi when he's doing his part, his verse, he's behind a gate, a
Mhm.
tall gate, and he starts to climb it, but it seems like he's trying to climb out of his prison, but then falls onto the couch, kind of accepting that he's, where he's at and finding comfort in no longer or no longer resisting.
Mhm.
So it would be one thing if he just kind of gave up and walked away, but the fact that he falls off the gate onto a couch, and couches are usually symbols of, comfort,
Yeah. Yeah.
home,
Right.
a safe space,
Mhm.
that you can be yourself.
Right.
And for him to come down off the gate onto a couch, even though the couch is outside
And quite farther away from
from,
the gate.
yes, so for him to fall down onto that, it's kind of saying, I would love to be free, but you know what? I'm comfortable here.
Right,
I've
right.
I've found comfort in this space. I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Well, you started going through it, so I'm gonna let you stay on your
Okay,
train
my
of
train.
thought, so that
We
you
never went
can.
back to the white swan. Sorry.
No, 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 no
You'll
worries, no
touch on the
worries.
white
I
swan.
have notes on the.
You will touch on the
Yeah.
white swan.
Hmm.
Okay. There's the reference to Swim, the music video.
Yes,
That
yes.
has the compass, and in the Swim music video, it symbolized pushing forward, and that BTS and Army are in this thing together. But in normal, it's almost regarded as a false hope. And I know I said that like a question because I wrote that like a question.
Mhm, mhm.
Or maybe as if they are trying to remember or find that connection now that the waters are so rough.
Mm,
Going into J Hope's
mm.
verse, when he says, "Now I understand the truth, some pain don't heal." And we kind of chatted about that, and I was like, oh, I should write that down. They are no longer bulletproof in the sense that all those bullets that they took on from haters and critics didn't just hit them and fall off. So
Right.
originally, they came out with the song We Are Bulletproof Part 2, and they have obviously a part 1 is just wasn't streamed. It was
Mhm.
on, I think it's on SoundCloud. And then they have We Are Bulletproof the Eternal. And the idea behind those songs are that people are going to talk what they're going to talk. They're going to
Mhm.
make up their stories, they're going to say the hateful things. And their stance was, we're not going to let it affect them. But, and I think this might answer my question as to why Tay is so beat up,
Mhm.
because now these bullets, they're realizing they did absorb some of those. And
Right.
those injuries have not healed.
Mhm.
And they are moving in a way that shows there is some effect to them. And they're not completely bulletproof. So the wounds from all of the negative words that they were told and the things that they were said, or that was said to them about them, you
The
see it on
treatment of them.
the mistreatment. You see it now on V's face. It's visual,
Yeah.
and you hear it in J Hope's words. It's it's them acknowledging that they couldn't be bulletproof, that they couldn't keep those bullets from having any sort of lasting effect
Mm.
on them. And now they're starting to realize, and I think maybe having that time away, the hiatus,
Mhm.
and then coming back and seeing, yes, they are, still widely accepted, but there's still a high level of criticism
Right.
coming against them. And it may have triggered those thoughts from, like, those flashbacks from when they had it, when they first debuted and when they first went global. And as every time they hit a milestone, there was just multiple or multitude of people coming against them.
Mhm.
So that was my interpretation, that now they're just kind of recognizing the impact of the unhealed wounds. And
Okay.
then there were a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about. Going back to Suga and him finding comfort in his prison, they have a goldfish in the music video, and I
Oh, yeah.
thought I
Mhm.
thought there was, significance to that. I don't know if there is. I don't know if it was just decoration. They were just like, rich people have goldfish in their rooms, right? Like, but in the event that there is some symbolism,
Right.
I wrote down some notes.
Right.
So, due to their enclosed environments, goldfish are usually used as symbols in psychology and art, to symbolize either the innocent observer, peacefulness, or finding contentment within one's own boundaries.
Wow.
So, yeah, that kind of parallels the
Right.
theory I have about
Exactly.
sugar.
Right.
And then there was a cake reference which kept getting
Yes.
pointed out. Did you write
Yes.
anything about
No,
that?
I didn't write anything about the cake, but yes,
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
so the cake has a picture of Marie Antoinette, and it was, so it has to do with the quote, "Let them eat
Mhm.
cake,"
Let them eat cake, correct. Yes.
which wasn't actually "let them eat cake," it was actually "let them eat brioche."
No.
But I'm not French.
Yes.
I could have looked up if brioche means cake. Here, it's a different
It's yeah,
thing, but
yeah, two
still,
different things, right.
the quote, the word in the quote used doesn't really have a change in the impact of what it was used
Yes,
for. So
yeah.
the quote itself first recorded by Jean-Jacques Rousseau in 1765, and it was vaguely attributed to a princess. And at the time, Marie Antoinette was 9 years old, but living in Austria. So there's really no evidence to point to it being a quote from her.
Mhm.
But when the French Revolution happened, revolutionaries took that quote and used it against her as propaganda, claiming that elites such as Antoinette perceived their perceived ignorance of the hardships that peasants were enduring,
Mhm.
and most notably starvation.
Mhm.
So basically, the idea is that words that were may or may not have been said by her were
Right.
used against her
Right.
by the mass media. And it's the same way with them. The fact that Arm's the one eating the cake with her face on it, it says a lot about how things that were said. And we kind of touched on it. I know you guys don't know because we haven't uploaded this episode yet, but
Mm.
when we talk about RM, we talk
Right.
about how he, being the only one that spoke English, when they
Right.
did start to branch out and go beyond their borders and their comfort zone, they were dealing with foreign
Mhm.
interviewers who
Reporters
spoke,
and stuff, yeah.
yes, who spoke English. And so he had to take what he was hearing said about them, the negative things, and spin it so that the members didn't realize, what was being said. So
Right.
he took that on and took it on a lot of that heavy lifting. And for him to be the one eating the cake with Marie Antoinette's
Yeah.
face on it is very symbolic.
Yeah.
And then I will end with the dogs, because the
Oh,
music video ends with the dogs,
yes, it
because I
does.
thought that there was some significance to the dogs. So let me go through all of the dogs and who they're paired with and what the characteristics of that dog are. So we're going to start off with our leader, RM. He has a Doberman. Dobermans are highly intelligent, fearless, and intensely loyal. They are bred for protection and suspicious of strangers.
Mm.
Then we have Jen, who has an Italian Greyhound, highly loving and loyal and playful. Now this one, I wasn't sure if it connected, but after thinking about it, yes. So next we have Sugar with a French Bulldog. They form incredibly strong bonds and love being the center of attention. That was the part that caught me off guard. But then as I think about it, when he's comfortable with you,
Mhm.
he does like being, in in the well, not the center of attention, but he does like having your attention.
Attention,
He
yes.
likes being acknowledged.
Yes.
He wants to be told he's cute.
Yeah.
He is very affectionate, but he doesn't always show it. But you do see hints of it when other members are like being affectionate with each other, holding each other. He'll reach out his hand and
Mhm.
like wait for somebody to grab it, or he'll stand just a little too close to somebody,
Mhm.
usually J Hope, and just wait for you to hug him.
Yeah.
So he does have that. Where was I at? Oh, center of attention, gets along great with children and other animals. He does.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
this is him. Low energy, but playful with goofy personality.
That is him. That is him.
Then next we have J-Hope with the Irish Setter. They are famously affectionate and high energy, love people, children, and other dogs, intelligent but stubborn. Jimin has the Borzoi, which I think I am pronouncing correctly, but I'm not sure. These are elegant sight hounds known for their calm demeanor. They're quiet, gentle, and affectionate, known as couch potatoes when indoors, but completely active outdoors. They are intelligent but independent, almost cat like,
Oh.
which I thought maybe might not be Jimin, but when I think about it, especially when we were
It,
watching the documentary
right.
and they had alone time and he was indoors
Yes.
with his takeout and watching his YouTube,
Mhm.
science videos.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's kind of Jimin. V has a toy poodle, highly intelligent, affectionate, and charismatic. They're eager to please and devoted to their families. They love to perform tricks and interact with their owners or their families. Very sensitive. And then JK has the Dalmatian. They are athletic, highly energetic, and intelligent. Built for distance, they make great jogging and hiking companions. They are aloof or reserved with strangers, but possess a highly protective nature with family. They're independent and strong willed, sensitive, and known to have long memories. They are emotionally sensitive.
Okay.
One thing I noticed about all of these dog breeds when I was looking them up is that they are all known, except for one, as Velcro dogs, which means that
Really?
they are highly attached
Yeah.
to their humans,
Yeah.
and highly attached to their families, almost to the point of suffering separation anxiety. But I want to know if
Mm.
you can guess the one that's not a Velcro dog. Whose
Oh
dog do you
wow.
think is not a Velcro dog?
All right. So my first thought was sugar.
Hmm.
That was my first thought. And then I said, well, that would be really too obvious. So I didn't have a second thought because I was going back and forth. Well, that would be too obvious, but then it would make sense. So give me the breeds again.
Okay, so you've got Doberman, Italian Greyhound, French Bulldog, Irish Setter, Borzoi, Toy Poodle, and Dalmatian. I kind of gave it away in the descriptions. If you were paying attention to the descriptions, I'll give you a hint. It's somebody I didn't think matched the description of the dog they were paired with, but then after thinking about,
Where's the sugar?
no, because there was one other person. I didn't. It was Jimin's.
Jim. Okay.
Borzois aren't
Oh,
Velcro.
voices.
Yeah, so they're not Velcro dogs,
Oh, okay.
which I thought was crazy because Jimin is highly attached to his family,
Yeah.
the rest of the members, to the point where when they all did their solo projects, he, I think, visited every single one of them
Mm-hmm.
on their projects, in some capacity, whether it was their show, recording a video, or just in their schedule.
Right.
He made a point to be there for everybody. So I thought it was really interesting that everybody had a dog that was a Velcro dog for the most part, because when you think about it, and somebody had touched on it in one of the videos that we saw about how they do everything together, even
Mm.
appearing in the
Right.
urinals together,
Right. Right.
and they are extremely attached to each other.
Yes. Yes. They are. And I that has been one thing that I have constantly noticed from the beginning of our journey here. And that they are very much together in all that they do. And I when you think about them living together and thinking about them doing the variety show together, making music together, everything is done together.
Hmm.
Even when they are separated, they contact each other,
And
you
talk
know.
about how they wish they were together.
Exactly, exactly. And when they were on Jimmy Fallon, and they would say, "What He asked the question, "What do you miss about
Oh yeah, when they came back.
when they came back?" Right, and it was things that some silly, but things that they really miss the little things.
Hmm.
I miss his brain. It's the little things
His
that they,
sexy brain.
yeah, his sexy brain. So it's because they are so attached to one another, just like a family. And it is they have their family of them within their families.
Hmm.
So yeah, that is them.
Yes.
So here's my take. I did start out with the swan. I did write the girl with the pictures, but that's all I wrote. The girl with the pictures.
There's a girl with
Yes,
pictures.
there's a girl with pictures. And the
Beware.
swan, like it was mentioned with one of the content creators that did a review on it, and he did an editor's review, which I
Hmm.
thought was very interesting because I found out a lot of things that I would have just totally overlooked, because this is what he does, and he broke it down that way. It was interesting, the lighting and why it flat the
There,
different
yeah,
flashes
there
of
was
it
a
was
lot of
there was
insight he had.
yeah, that was really neat, because it kind of makes you kind of look at things now, videos or whatever, a little different once you have
We'll
the
tag
end.
him in the comments.
Okay, all right. um the swan, and why the white swan in the video is different. Well, I'm sorry, let me go back. The swan in the song Black Swan, the white swan in this video, and the white swan spoken about in the first in the Black Swan video, speaks about a white swan representing the artist and the persona of that artist, and what the world sees. And this swan here is kind of giving the world an insight of what their personas are,
The worldview
a
persona.
world yeah, the worldview one. So when I seen the reflection opening up of JK in the shot in the bathroom, it starts off to me with like it being the most private moments that you experience as a being, when you're in the bed, usually you're by yourself, and it's a private moment in a private space. But they were there, they showed them being there, and it starts with that and it ends with that.
Oh, them in the bathroom.
Them in the bathroom,
Mm.
yeah. And when I seen the video, and I noticed, yeah, it starts with the most private moment that you can imagine, and ends with the most private moment that you can imagine. But the ending was more of what they were on stage, because what they were all lined up, and what did they do? They turned around and posed.
Hmm.
So
So it was more like a
it was
performance.
more like a performance, although it was private. They were in a place where normally you wouldn't think about that, but they all, and it was choreographed.
Hmm.
So it was them still, even in their private time or their private places, they were still doing what they
They're still
normally do, which
performing.
which isn't normal for us, but it's normal for them.
Hmm.
So he also was in the bathroom and in the shower fully clothed.
Mm.
He was just, everything was on. So it was just, you know,
That
and
seemed
that
like a
was just,
really uncomfortable outfit to be wet in.
yeah, because wasn't it leather?
It looked like
It
leather.
looked
Yeah.
like leather,
It
yeah.
was an interesting, like it was a blue leather shirt. I would never think to
But
wear a
in a jacket too.
but well, he didn't have the jacket in the bathroom. He has the jacket later. Like you see him in shots with the jacket later, but no, he's wearing a blue leather shirt with a tie.
Okay, okay. I thought I seen the jacket, but okay, I could be wrong.
Could you have mistaken it because it's leather and you were like, "Oh, that must be a jacket."
No, because I noticed the shirt. I thought he had the jacket on because the shirt was buttoned, and then he had something open so that you could see. But
Oh
that's
god,
neither
did he
here
have a
nor there.
vest?
That's neither here
Just
nor there.
leather, so much leather.
That's neither there. I also want to jump to Jimin and Jin's line when Jimin was laying on the bed, just because he was in a quiet space by himself. So it was before Jin's line about wishing he had a minute just to turn me off. And so he was there trying to be alone. And then they showed Jen, as this panning, the camera's panning out to him being like in a garden or
In the yard,
in
yeah.
the forest in the yard, and he was by himself. He had his private time, and it was just something that he wasn't doing anything great. And one shot shows him drinking maybe coffee or tea or
It was
something,
he never
but
actually drank it.
he just had it
He
in his
yeah,
hand,
he brought it to
but
his
his
lips.
lips, but he
Yeah,
didn't
he
drink
never
it.
actually drank. He brought it to his lips to say and then said the line,
Yeah.
and then there's never a shot of him actually drinking the tea.
Well, he had it there. So
He
it
was
was
ready.
just it was just what normal people would do. You sit out in your yard or something, or in the gazebo or something, and you just, you have your quiet time. You have your time alone with yourself. And that was normal. But for them, it was an extraordinary time because it's not something that they normally
Get to
get
do.
to do. Yeah. Oh, pulling on the projected image is that all is well when things are emotionally falling apart. That's you know even though he was quiet and it was quiet, but things around him before the shot and after the shot was just a whole lot of chaos, and it was like, falling apart and not being what it was. And then you spoke about V being all beat up, and it was I looked at that as being all that they had been taking in over the years was beginning to show. Just like at times you feel like, well, you keep running your body down, and you're going to eventually
Show
show
the
that
signs of
the
where
signs of wearing down. So all that emotional
everything that they've been,
stress,
yeah,
I was going to say emotional stress, that they
turmoil.
were turmoil there, better, that was going on, that it was beginning to show itself physically to them. That was, now, not that it was shown, but that was what they were depicting, in my opinion, on my thoughts, on his face,
Mhm.
that that was going on. So it was the exhaustion and you know the constant breakdown of having that stimulation. I spoke also about the verses. Did I just write them?
I'm like, who'd you speak to?
No, I didn't. I wrote them down though, but I had the insight that you did about the bulletproof,
Hmm.
and what was going on with that, the pushing me, pulling me. Said you wanted all of me, but what is even all of me? Personally, I guess they really don't know that.
I think it was one of the things that I can't remember. I think he did talk about that, about how, trying to figure out who they, especially with the hiatus, when they took the
Hmm.
hiatus, and the reason they decided to take the break is because they were losing track of their own group identity and they didn't even
Hmm.
know what BTS was or what it meant,
Hmm.
and then who they were within the group.
Right.
I think that there's so much in RM's verse, and I'm surprised I didn't even touch on it. I'm really surprised that I didn't touch on it, but I'll let you go on with that.
Yeah, and the other part of it is that suddenly part of me is haunting me. Heard the things they're calling me. What the hell do you want from me? Yeah, that was
I feel
a
like that's
lot of
pretty
what
straightforward.
it is. It is pretty straightforward, and it's um what came to my mind too was that interview, not the interview, the
Live.
no, it was a round table, I guess I'll say,
Oh, oh,
with the underground rappers. And I think I
oh.
mentioned this,
In the yeah,
and
in
they
the
were
beginning of
talking
their
about,
career.
right, and that, you know, right there in, to his face, and what they said, and
Hmm.
so he it was his decision to do and go the route that he went. And then, it's like, hey, what do you want from me? That was my decision. I made it. I'm going through it, and that's it. But it still, I believe, had some sort of effect of bothering him, or all of them actually.
Mhm.
And then I went to Jimin's verse when he spoke about heavy is the head when chasing the truth. And that to me echoed that saying, as heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Which I don't know if you remember, but before they started promoting the album, before they were even talking about it, they had made a lot of references to crowns. And
Right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
then RM even said
And
in a
kings.
live,
Yeah.
heavy is the head that wears a crown.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, this next concept is gonna be like royalty and princes or kings or
Right,
whatever,"
right, right.
because they had the whole tiara fight
Right,
off
right,
between
right.
him,
Yeah.
Jin, and V, and then like there was just a lot of references to the crown being heavy on and all that stuff. And so yes,
Yeah. So
okay, I'm done.
that being said, with seeking the truth or carrying responsibility that comes with that, there was a burden that comes with that of carrying the responsibility of speaking the truth.
Mhm.
And then the coloring, you color me red, you color me blue. I looked at that as because I know I said something crazy to you initially. And she's like,
When
it has nothing to do with that. And you were right. But it has
wait, what
no,
crazy
no,
thing?
I don't want to
Like
go
wait, what
into it. I
crazy
do
thing did
not
you?
want to go into it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But it does. It's a descriptive of define what kind of mood you are. You're feeling blue, or
Mhm.
you're angry, as fire, you're hot, you're red hot and stuff. So it's a way of describing them in that line. It's a descriptor. So you color me, in some cases you color me red, you color me blue,
Mhm.
so that's what. And then the coin part of the lyric, um where two sides of a coin, but they both are true. Oh, ain't true. I'm sorry. They both ain't true. That is, I think, either side of a coin, should be different. But then it's perceived for someone of fame and someone who's so-called normal, and that's, it could be different for me. It could be different from you. Each side of the coin.
Mm.
So that I honed in on Jimin's verse there a lot, because that heavy is the head that's chasing the truth really kind of, it stuck out even from hearing it the very first time. I said, wow, that really stands out to me. But anyway, let me go on to where the swim reference. I think we both tied in on that.
I do want to point out one thing that I didn't say the
Hmm.
first time. So when Jimin goes up to the model ship that's supposed
Yes.
to be theirs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when I saw it, because he goes over and he touches the sail, but in the
Right.
swim music video, when it
Uh,
opens,
it's
he's there pressed against the sails,
sale. Right.
and I was like, what if he's reminiscing about the ease of that time, when they were doing the music video, and not just doing the music video, but like the symbolism of him being free on the ship, on the boat, and in the sails, and like the wind hitting him, and
Hmm.
he's now in this reality where he he's being seen as something, or as one way, and it's not the truth, and he's dealing with his version of normal, and he just wants to be against those sails with the wind, and he like, because it was a simpler time for
Time.
him.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, I should stop talking.
well, no, 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 no. Is it the two songs tie into one another in a way of being two different visions of them. I don't know if vision is
Visions
the
versions.
versions.
I will
Versions of
say,
them.
when you hear
It's
the song,
not versions neither.
okay,
No, it's
think about it while I say what I gotta say
go
real
ahead.
quick.
It's
I
not.
will say that when you first hear the songs on their own, you don't see a tie-in. I
Go
didn't
ahead.
see a
Yeah.
tie-in.
Yeah.
But now looking at the music videos and how they reference each other, because correct me if I'm wrong, the music video for Swim had the book on it, and didn't it say normal?
Normal.
Okay, so
And
there
what did I say to you? I said that book is significant.
you were like, there's gotta be a music video.
There's something significant about that book.
You did. You did. So the fact that they reference each other, there has to be some in this. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some like Bangtan universe lore or something like that, where there's a storyline in there somewhere. Ooh. Anyway, there's there's gonna be something, and if there isn't, we're gonna make it up. But yeah, I just, now that you see both music videos, you see the depictions of each of the songs visually, they are connected.
Yeah.
There is a connection.
Yeah.
So
And with swim is their expression pushing forward, no matter what the turbulence or difficulties may come across.
mhm,
That was that in there. And then normal is a feeling of emptiness and longing, that comes after experiencing a high moment of performing, of being out there and being in front of the crowd, dealing with the energy and joy they get from that, and then finding themselves in quiet moments that they don't have
very
most
many of.
many of. And it's kind of like how we felt in a way, when we after we seen the concerts in
Mm,
Vegas. We kind of was coming down. We didn't want to come down. We were coming down
I
because
still want to go back.
uh,
Take me
because
back.
it was, it was just such a build up, getting there, and then, getting the merch, and the two nights that we went, and it was, the anticipation, and it was this, and the concert was great, and we had a good time. And then, the
You.
next day was like,
So now what?
you know
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, that's the difference in how they push through it, but it's just,
But the thing is that they got to push through it every time.
every time, every time.
Yeah. And as we saw with Paris, JK was crying, and I know that people are like, well, don't speak on what he's crying for because you don't know. I don't know.
No. Mm-mm.
But considering what I have observed about JK and how emotionally attached to the fans he is, and how much importance he places on Army, and how much fun they had in Europe. I
Mhm.
mean, they were like, we were talking about it, they're basically out here cheating on us because they're just running wild with their European mistress, and we're like, what? Giving them all the good songs, giving them all the good dance challenges and everything, and I'm like, what is happening over there? And why am I
Across
not
the
there with? Yeah,
pond.
why am I not there with them? Um, I feel like he was really sad to leave. I feel like he was really devastated,
Yeah.
and yes, he did cry a lot. I don't think I expected him to cry that much. But I did say, of all the members that were going to cry on stage first, it was going to be him.
Yeah.
I think I told Michelle that. I was like, JK's going to cry. It's definitely going to be JK. He really was, and I think that the song choice for the surprise song that night, We Are Bulletproof the Eternal, definitely got to him, because that's such an emotionally heavy song, especially when it talks
Yeah.
about the bond and the connection between Army and BTS. So yeah, I totally understand why he cried. I I'm not gonna say it's for sure because he was sad he was leaving Europe and he was sad he was leaving Army, but I'm going to put more eggs in that basket
Mm.
than I will in another one. I just think that that makes
It
sense.
makes sense.
hmm
Okay. Okay.
So yes, having to push through all of those emotions, and sometimes it doesn't wait until they get backstage
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
back to their hotel room.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
it
It,
hits you in
it's
that last song.
just yeah.
It hits you in that
Just
encore, and you're just like, well, guess I'm
this
gonna
is
swim
how
through these tears.
it's gonna go on through it. And then there could be why that, they usually like go live right after,
I
almost,
kind of thought that he would, but
yeah.
I was like, it's fine. He
Mm,
doesn't have to. Well, they
yeah.
couldn't actually because they had to get right on a plane
Yeah.
and come
The
over here.
last one,
Yeah,
right. But this, some of the concerts, a lot of the concerts, they went live afterwards.
they do.
They
Yeah,
oh,
they have done that.
so,
Um,
that's still, we're connecting, we're connecting.
yeah. Well, that was. Oh, did you have any more thoughts before I try to end
No, no, no,
this?
no, no, no. Unless you say something,
No, I'm not
I
gonna say
am,
anything else
I
because
am,
we've been talking for a
I'm,
while.
I'm, no, I'm done. I'm
Okay.
done.
So yes, we're gonna end it here. If you haven't watched the normal music video, please go stream it. Go watch it. There's the regular version and there's the explicit version, which the album has the explicit version of the song. But the explicit version, I can't speak. The explicit version of the music video has a tiny little cameo that the regular one doesn't have for like a split second at the very end. Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, so for you guys who haven't seen it, you get a really good shot of V's boxers.
Okay. So you know whose it was?
Yeah, it was. Oh, come on, that man definitely was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do this, and you can't stop me.
Mm,
He's having his fun.
mm,
So with that, we're gonna go enjoy the music
yes,
video, guys. It's a good one, and
it is.
it's a great song, and it tells you a little bit more about who these 7 normal guys from Korea are.
Yeah.
So with that, we're gonna go.
Mm,
We'll see you next time. Bye.
bye.